to another edition of the Die or Die Podcast, the only podcast on YouTube dedicated to the owners of classic Porsches. We're part of the Die Nation YouTube channel. Today we've got some pretty exciting stuff here. We're also just wanted to mention that we're recording in the downtown arts district of Las Vegas. So you might hear some noise in the background. Tonight is First Friday. There's a lot of stuff going on right outside our door. What do you think, Mikey?
There's a couple of things. People are supposed to be doing some political.
Yeah, who's in town tonight, Mikey? Who's?
I think what is it? Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, and
from the Killers.
Someone from the Killers. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So if you've never been to Las Vegas into the arts district, most people think of Las Vegas as kind of the Strip. But just north of town, in between the old Strip, if you've been to the Fremont Street experience, there's an area called the Arts District. That's where we are. It's also called the 18B. And the first Friday of every month, they do a massive art walk. There's probably 20,000 people out there tonight. There might be an extra 10,000 because of that event, you think?
I think so.
It's pretty nuts out there. The police stole our cones. So we have a parking issue down here, and we had cones all out there. The police literally came over and stole our cones. They're like, well, our cone truck hasn't come yet.
So they just took ours.
They stole ours, yeah. All right, well, let's get to the show. I'm really excited about our guest tonight. We have from Obsessed Garage, Mr. Matt Moreman. How are you, sir?
Welcome to me.
Welcome to you. Thanks for coming. Well, yeah, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't my show.
I'm not the host. What? Huh?
That's right. You have your own podcast. Well, I mean, is that what you call it? Do you call it a podcast or a show or a YouTube channel? Tell us about that.
Well, my main social outlet, which is really an outlet for me, is YouTube. So the YouTube Obsessed Garage channel, and then I have a podcast called Dialed In.
Okay.
Dialed In, some obsession required.
Some obsession required. I like that. Very nice. So, what is Obsessed Garage? What are you obsessed with?
Well, pretty much anything. Anything I have an interest, but my focus or my obsession is the garage. And so the garage is the muse, and then the cars go in it, the tools go in it, the floor goes in it, the lights go in it. So it's the garage, and then anything else that can complement it. I'm generally obsessed with. And it depends on what day it is, on what I'm after. So SEMA is like it's everything that I dream of in one spot.
Yeah.
And so I'm chasing tools, I'm chasing lights, I'm chasing detailing stuff. I guess my channel has a focus of detail, paint correction and detailing. That's the core of what it's about. But that's just one of the things that goes on in my crazy garage.
Yeah. Man, I love that. I watched your day one, and it's so funny because you see so many streams coming out of SEMA, and everyone's excited about the wheels or the latest build or whatever. But you're like, look at this cleaning product.
Yeah, it's funny. I walk right past, I would trip over a $1 million build that everybody else is taking pictures, and I'm pushing people out of the way to go look at the pliers.
Right.
That's just my thing. And so the garage is my sanctuary.
That's your domain.
Yeah, and part of the reason why I have a YouTube channel is because my tendency is to go in there and close everybody out in life, and so setting up a camera and putting it on YouTube has been my therapy, to get out of my own head. And it's been a bit surreal how for such I tend to be a really introverted, small-minded type person, for it to get as big as it's gotten. It's been pretty incredible.
Well, you sure pay attention to the details, and Obsessed is really, you've got the brand that makes sense for your brand, I think.
Yeah, I'm literally medically diagnosed with this obsessive compulsive disorder, so it's so it's true. At least I'm living on brand.
Nice. So what? Okay, well let's get out of the garage for a second, and maybe let's talk a little bit about cars. You're obviously a car enthusiast as well. Did it start there, or were you in the garage first? Which?
No, cars are the obvious thing that necessitates the garage. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big Porsche, Bmw guy, diehard, German sports car guy, and I prefer a manual transmission like all of us. A much more analog experience is better.
You're our people.
Yeah,
right there. We're doing that right across there. That happened. Yeah.
We're all cut from a specific mold. Right. I'm big on car progression.
Yeah.
Right, and taking the natural evolutionary steps. I say that now. I mean, if I was 19, I would have loved to have an RS, right?
Right.
But now I can really appreciate. I'm 38. I can really appreciate that progression. I had an EM1 99 Civic Si, and then got an S2000, and then decided I wasn't going to be into cars for about 6 weeks. And I sold the S2000, bought an RSX, and then I got another S2000, and then I got in 2010. I got my first M3. So that was the big evolutionary jump.
What generation M3 did you get?
E92.
E92. Okay, that was the
Yeah, I mean, I wanted an E46 M3 more than life itself, but it just, I was somewhat fiscally responsible. What ended up happening, I ended up buying like a stereo and like a home theater, and that would make me keep a lesser car. But in 2010, I got a Milan's Blue, the V8, the S65 V8, E92 M3, and I got it. Now at the time I bought it because I didn't have the money to spend for all the options, but I got, if you're familiar with those cars, single hump, so no nav, manual seats, and no options.
Yeah.
All I had was metallic paint and the competition package.
Nice.
And so
that did the competition package have the carbon roof or?
Yeah, carbon roof came standard as long as you didn't do the sunroof, the free sunroof option.
Got it. Right.
And now that's like the unicorn car, the car that's sought after.
Yeah.
And so I just recently found like not that car that I had, but a very similar version of that car. And so I just got that in the past month, and I've been doing my thing, which is long format detailing series of taking the car to as close to perfection as I can get it.
That is awesome. We're gonna do something a little different here. I apologize. This might be kind of fun. I don't know. Mikey, it looks like our friend Shane just showed up. And normally we don't want to interrupt the podcast, but no, you stay where you're at. We got Miggs over here. Miggs is on deck. You mind going and getting the door and letting Shane in?
You got it.
Shane is someone who's been on the podcast before. He's a BMW guy.
Oh, okay.
So you guys will have a few things in common. And I don't know, he doesn't know you're here. Maybe he'll be like, "What is he? What is this man? Oh my!" So I don't know. Just be
or
be like,
clue.
"Who's that guy?" I don't know.
Right.
That's what I usually get.
Just another nerd.
Actually, we're all going to be excited about. I think he brought Nixon.
Oh,
I'm kind of hoping he brought Nixon.
Is that a dog or something?
That's his dog.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got
He has really cool looking hair.
They both the dog Nixon
I
or
was saying
Shane. I think
this,
they're both like they're both like the best hair ever. I don't know who gets more product. This is kind of fun. We're ripping on a good buddy here.
He's not even here yet.
All right. Well, we'll just keep talking about you. You had talked a little bit about your S2000. Was that your first rear wheel drive sports car?
Yep.
And you did a lot of work to that car.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like I didn't do any motor work, but I'm a big bolt-on modification guy. Whatever bolt-ons I can get my hands on, I'm all about. And it mainly more has to do with UPS coming to my house, and the anticipation, the research, the ordering, the waiting. I'm sure many can relate. That's like my mission in life is to. And now it's funny because I have 2 or 3 coming every day. I become jaded some crazy part. So yeah, the modifications has always been one of my things.
Nice. Yeah, that really is the fun part, right? When you get it's like it could be Christmas every day now with Amazon.
Yeah, and that's my wife gives me a hard time because it literally is Christmas every day in my life now. Because now my
Are we still recording or are we?
Oh no. We are recording, but something's going on with the audio.
Did the panel get turned off? I think the panel got turned off. The power strip.
Yeah, that's it.
We're back on.
We're live.
But it didn't stop recording, right?
Nope, we're still recording.
All right,
All
like
right.
that. We had a little technical. That's our first technical interruption.
He's gonna have to do some editing.
no editing needed.
That was Nixon that gets the blame for that. No biscuit for that.
I forget what I was talking about.
We were talking about Christmas every day and getting those packages, right?
Yep.
So I think the reason why I brought up the S2000 is because you started telling me about that earlier before we started recording about how you had done those mods, but didn't really like it.
Well, we were talking about the reliving. We were talking about like air-cooled Porsches and
that was the car that you wanted when you were younger. but couldn't afford.
Correct. Well, I wanted it when I first saw it in college, and then I got it, and then I sold it to get the M3, the next evolutionary step, and then just recently I rebought it. And I bought every JDM dream part that I'd ever thought of, all at once.
Oh my gosh!
Like $30,000 worth of every part you can imagine, like in like an afternoon, and put it all on at the same exact time, and I hated it. So the car should have lived in the lore of my 20s.
You could never go home.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true.
Yeah.
But with that car, I think I'm fatter and bigger and wider and not as athletic, and so I think just I'm way too big. I was too big for that car then. I'm too big for that car now.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, because I do have aspirations to get some other cars that lived in my childhood dreams as well.
Like what?
Well, I'd like an E46. I'd like a OBD1 E36 M3. I'm starting to come around to wanting an air-cooled Porsche.
Yeah.
My previous Porsche knowledge, my Porsche history is not as it's fuzzier because when I was of that age, I was born in 1980, so I lived in a single wide trailer. Like, Porsche was not an option for me, or so I thought.
Yeah.
It was never part of my DNA. I didn't have Lamborghinis on my wall. I had an M3 on my wall, and that was the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Or actually, I remember the 850, the 850
Oh, yeah.
Ci.
Yeah,
The 850 Ci was my screensaver on my compact.
What do they call those, Shane? Are those land sharks or?
They're still a shark, yeah.
That's a shark. Okay, that's considered a shark because those are kind of have the 6 Series lineage, right?
Right. Yeah. It's a big boy of it.
But see, I have no desire to have one now. I can get whatever I want, but I have no desire to have one. But what they're doing with now that I am, and as in my later teens and early 20s, and is when did the 996 GT3 come out? What was that? 99.
Yeah, the first GT3
announced in 90. That was the start of the love of Porsche for me. So I wasn't like the kid that dreamt of having like a C2 or a
or a 993 or a 964. That was a little bit before. Yeah,
a little before my before I thought I could do something like that. And so mine was like the 850 Ci and then the E36 M3. I never had an E30 M3 desire.
Yeah.
That was again a little before my time.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would fall into the kind of the air-cooled era.
So I was an NSX and an M3 like wannabe. I wanted those cars. Those were my unicorns, if you will.
Well, it's funny how ever since the M3 came out, that and the 911 have just like hopscotched each other. They've just been right there. Those are the 2 best sports cars ever made, and it's just even as a diehard Porsche guy, I mean, I cannot deny that the M3 and every version of the M3 is just such a magnificent automobile.
And it's worked out for me in that my adult dream, my let's say late 20s dream, was M3 Daily Driver and GT3 RS. That would have been.
Which is what you have now. You have a GT3 RS, right?
Correct. Yeah. So 90101. I'm Mr. Porsche now, and I can't get a darn dot 2. It's incredible how frustrating that is.
Well, we know some folks that might be able to help you. One of our sponsors is God & Porsche of Las Vegas, and they'll even you can take the Vegas delivery where they will pick you up from the airport in a Porsche, take you down to the dealership, you get your car, they'll put you up at the nicest hotel in town.
I'm down.
And then they'll ship the car to you when you're done. So, but anyways, moving on.
I'd already bent his ear when I was back at your open house, and he said, we get about 5 of them. We got 90 people on the list, so you're screwed, bro. I don't know you from anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, but I can promote it. I'll make a video.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Did you hear that, Paul? Yeah. Come on, help a guy out. He's on the pod. Come on. He's a guy, right?
Yeah. So the air cooled stuff I'm starting to come around on. Yeah. I saw several at SEMA, and which I normally just walk past the cars.
Yeah.
But there was I think it was a 964 in the IBOC booth, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It just did it the way I would do it, which is to clean out your bank account. You know?
Yeah, that is what makes them go faster. It's clearly just pour a bucket
Basically,
of money.
right. I want a modern chassis, you know, with a modern engine, and you know, and with individual throttle bodies and the whole.
Right. So what about the 997 in the middle there? Like, because you mentioned the E90 M3, and then like the E90 M3 and the 997 both came out at about the same time. The 99 or not 993, what am I saying? The 997. The 997 came out in like 05.
Yep.
The E90, what was that? 6, 7 when that came out?
E90 would have been 07, late 07 with a model year 08.
Yeah.
So really late 07. Yeah.
So those two cars, you know, I mean, they have. What's the horsepower in an E90?
You're what, 414?
414 and a standard 997 with the 3.6, not the S.
Was what, 325?
325, right. And it's interesting. I remember when both those cars were the contemporary, and all the magazines. One of the magazines, I don't know which one, was Road Track or something like that. They did an article where there it is. The M3 has 100 horsepower almost on the 997, and they had identical track tires. I mean, identical. And it's so interesting that was the first time that it really dawned on me that horsepower is not the end-all number. It's where the power is and how it's used. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I've always been, and part of it was because I was an apologist for why my Hondas were all about the experience, you know, quote. And so same thing with the M3, and that's changed with the F80, the current generation. But we've always apologized for power, underpowered, slower in a straight line, and it's all about the experience, the seating position, the steering feel, how the car goes around a track, and of course, you know, a 911 would be the ultimate portrayal of that.
Yeah.
And so again, at that time, and even in 08, a 911 wasn't in the cards for me, so I wasn't obsessed with it.
Yeah.
But it was starting to become something that I would consider, something, and I would read that article and start to see I started to have some success in life. Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, that's the natural progression. The natural, I think you either take the VW route to BMW to M3, or you take the Honda route, or you take the Subaru route. Those are the three routes.
Sure.
And at least all of my contemporaries, that's how you get there.
Yeah.
And then the next evolutionary step of the purist experience guy is 911. Yeah. And then you would start with a Carrera of some sort. Hopefully you can splurge for the S.
Right.
And if you're up north, you get the 4S, right? And then you get the GT3 and then RS. Yeah. That's the progression. At least that's my progression. Yeah. And if you think otherwise, I think you're insane.
Right. Well, it's kind of like the champion. What's the package on the E90 that you're talking about that has the
competition package?
Competition package. Thank you. It's like BMW kind of figured it out, and so did Porsche. It feels like at the same time they figured out that we can put less stuff in the car. And call it an RS or
Carrera T, for example.
Right,
let's take stuff out and charge more. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
When the 964 was a contemporary 911, that was 89 to 94 or something like that. A typical C2 coupe was around 80 or 90,000 bucks, but the RS America, with the straps for door handles and hardly anything else, no power seats and stuff. Cloth seats. Anyways, that car was $60-something thousand. So it was the way better car, but it was $20,000 less than the other one. Now it's obviously the relationship is completely inverted.
Yeah, the opposite. The less it has, the more expensive the more exclusive it is.
Right.
Even though it costs them less to make the darn thing.
Right.
It's genius.
It's genius. Yeah. So has BMW? It seems like BMW caught up to that a little bit later. They seem to have figured it out now, but it seems like they didn't quite have it together in your generation of E90. Is that because that was a less expensive car, right?
Yeah. The E90 was a sedan. E92 was the coupe. And as you added more, that most people ordered those cars fully optioned out, and the price went up and up and up. As you added more stuff, nav, and of course most people wanted that.
Yeah.
Now nobody wants that. because that technology dates the car.
Right.
You know, so like go look at an E39 M5 and it's got the nav screen in the center and it looks like ancient, you know, with the weird, goofy wood trim and stuff all in there. But at the time, that was
horrible
like
interfaces that don't have complete maps.
Like dot matrix,
I got to put a CD in there or a DVD to get the other side of town.
So now those are the cars that you want.
Yeah.
I stumbled into ordering that car because I didn't have the money. I was stretching to get the E92.
Yeah.
And interesting thing, you know, now the Bmw Interiors, you don't really have the option to leave it without technology.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of that? So, I mean, your GT3 RS, it is an RS, but in the same sense of the earlier RSs. I mean, that still has all the accoutrement. It still has all the gizmos.
My one complaint is that I wish that they had the Burmester option, you know, the audio, the upgraded audio system, because then it would make it the perfect vehicle. Now I'm older and softer. I would have, you know, back in the 997 days, you want to be proud of your left quad is much bigger than you know, your right, because you have to, the clutch is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The brakes squeal, it's harsh, especially that .2 RS. I mean, things brutal. Well, now it's like a magical beast in that you get in that darn .1 or .2 RS, and I just drove to Atlanta. It was a dream.
Yeah.
It was better than driving my Raptor with the big plush cooled seats. Just more. I got out. I'm like, man, I feel great.
Is he the third or fourth guest that's
I was just going to say that you were the third guest that has
a Raptor? Yeah. That seems like the go-to daily for Porsche enthusiasts nowadays.
I had two of them. I just sold mine, so now technically, so my wife drives. How cool is that? My wife drives the Gen 1, you know, Raptor, white on black Stormtrooper looking Raptor with a modified front end and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty sick. The funny thing is, I never ever once got even a hint of a compliment on that truck. Like gas station filling up, no one looked at me, no one said anything to me. And I drove a thing for 3 years. She drives, she gets 10 compliments a day about how awesome
they're complimenting the truck, right?
It's such a load of
crap.
crap.
My wife gets the same thing in her Cayenne. Okay.
So I don't know what's up with that, but I was very disappointed. Very disappointed. I think I just have an unapproachable, vibe that I give off.
Well, do you get when you're in the RS versus the E90? Do you get that gas station conversation thing?
You know what's interesting? So prior to the RS, I had a C2S X51 C2S, the 901.1 in 2014. That was what my M3. So my M3 was replaced. So my beloved E92 M3, the Le Mans Blue, that evolutionary step, that big step car, was traded for 2014 Carrera S. I did the whole experience. I spec'd the car, ordered the car. That's the car that sort of launched my YouTube channel. And I splurged $19,000 for the X51 package that adds 30 horsepower and a little bit of better airflow. But so I basically built my own GTS before the GTS became available, and so that then led to some Sapphire Blue. I like to think I'm responsible for Sapphire Blue in North America because no one had Sapphire Blue anything, and now it's everywhere.
I'm pretty sure you are. We checked. Did you look it up? Yeah, Mikey looked it up.
I'm owning it.
Yeah, you get all the credit, man.
And so the Sapphire Blue GT3 was prior to the RS, so then the RS was the last. So I had that blue car for 4 years.
You are in Orlando?
Correct.
And so, okay, you have a history of having some of the best handling cars ever made.
In the straightest, flattest roads in
Where
America.
do you go around a corner there?
You don't. There's like one road in the hills of West Orlando. It's called Claremont, and maybe 2 roads that have like 3 or 4 turns. I go to the mountains often, the Carolina Mountains, mountains, which are some of the best roads in the country.
The Tail of the Dragon and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yep.
How far a haul is that from where you're
It's
at?
about 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I go 3 to 4 times a year.
Okay. So you make a commitment out of it, make it a weekend, and
Yep. And that's why I bought the second Raptor, was to tow in style. Raptor's not the best towing rig, but I had a Trail X all aluminum enclosed. So with the car, it was 5,200 pounds.
Yeah.
So the Raptor can do that. But I learned that I hate trailering. So now I just said, screw it, I'm just gonna drive the car.
I mean, it has 4 wheels and a motor, so you may as well just go, right?
Yeah, it's hard for me though. I mean, remember, I'm obsessed. And
Yeah. Are you watching every number that ticks by? Is that
I
doing
I
something?
was for a long time. Now I'm fortunate in that if I lost $50,000 in the car because I drove it, I'm not going to be out on the street. And
Right.
so I finally feel like I'm now okay with. I don't look at the odometer all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, even then, I mean, an RS, especially in the current environment of Porsches and what they're worth, if I had 28,000 miles on it, and I got $30,000 less, was it worth? It was probably worth every penny to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about the resale value of the stupid thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point you may as well just invest in art. If you're just going to look at it,
Right, exactly.
It's a lot safer. It's not going to get hit by some kid in a Hyundai.
Yeah, and it's a much better experience if you've ever tow stuff. It sucks.
Right.
You got to be on
Yeah.
the whole time.
Ugh.
You're watching lanes, checking your mirrors, and it's
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yeah.
And then driving through Atlanta is a nightmare.
Oh man.
Yeah, with a truck and trailer. With a truck that's really not designed to tow.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
just
but he sure looks cool, don't he?
I did look darn cool.
Yeah, right. I believe that. What I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. You're not just obsessed with your garage, though. I've seen some of your videos about even your studio, your podcast studio. Unlike ours,
Is
your
I'm
OCD
getting a
kind of going a little?
I'm getting a little itchy.
Got a lot of cables all over the place.
Yeah, I don't even know how that's possible. But you've got it.
That
you
one
managed
does
to
something
figure it
or
out.
whatever. But yeah, well, that's why when the dog walked in, half the studio turned off.
Lights, literally, like one light went off. Things, big buildings shifted on its axis.
Yeah, that's precisely what
I
happened.
envy that though.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that way,
Yeah.
but I do envy that at times, the ability to just roll.
Yeah.
Because I can't just roll. I have probably at least 12 hours on my back underneath my desk in wire management.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, you have one of those desks that's a standing desk that you got
Right.
that way just so that you could access underneath it and wire.
Well,
it easily.
I wanted the standing desk so I could theoretically stand, which I haven't yet. But I show people how cool it is.
Yeah.
What I found is that nice, cool desks are standing desks. You
Yeah.
don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And so I have an uplift desk, and then I went and ordered all kinds of It's like a car. I ordered all
Yeah.
kind of aftermarket parts,
Yeah.
like a channel, and then to run the wires through, and I have everything dialed in. I probably spent 100 hours doing research on all the stuff that is comprised of it. Like I have like what a news station would have. I have Yellow Tech boom arms. I'm embarrassed to say how much they cost.
Yeah.
But I have I have Shure SM7Bs. I have the same mics that like the Joe Rogan show has, and I've got like legit radio studio quality stuff.
Yeah.
But then I had to get like really dumbed down USB interface to connect because I don't know how to use it. And so I've got all the gear, but I had to dumb it down and just go real simple into my Mac, so that I could just hit record.
Yeah.
So because my artistic skills are not so great. My wiring skills are on point.
He is on point.
My artistic skills not so.
Well, maybe we
not
need
so
to
legit.
have you come down and hang out down here and wire our. Well, no, we want to do that.
Not 12 hours.
We don't want to kill the poor guy.
I would strangely enjoy that. That would be the problem.
We have not killed a guest yet, so I don't think we want to start tonight. Where can people check out all your content and buy T-shirts and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obsessedgarage.com, or if you Google Obsessed Garage. The magic of creating content is you don't have to pay some guy thousands of dollars to do SEO for you.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to do search engine optimization. Just create a bunch of crap, and then you Google anything to do with it, and boom, you dominate the Google search. So just Google search Obsessed Garage and Instagram, Facebook. I'm pretty active on Facebook. We have a massive group for other obsessed people to cope.
Nice.
So we have like 24,000 people in our Facebook group. And that's us turning people away as much as possible.
Wow.
You have to answer the questions, and you'd be surprised. Apparently, that's a
That
difficult
weeds
thing to
people
do.
out. Yeah. Nice,
yeah.
nice work. All right, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in our studio. Thank you for taking the time and.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
It was awesome to have you at our party too. So yeah.
Thanks,
Awesome, man. All right, well, that's Matt Moreman from Obsessed Garage. So definitely check out his YouTube channel and buy stuff from him. And then while you're on the interwebs and pushing buttons, go to our channel, thedurfosnation.com or Durfosnation on YouTube, and I don't know, hit subscribe or the notifications or all that kind of stuff. We'd love to say buy a t-shirt or a hat or all those things. I think by the time you watch this, those things should actually be available, right, Mikey?
Hopefully.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, that's what we've been saying for a while. But anyways, again, this has been another episode of the Die or Die podcast. We want to give a shout out to our good friends at God Porsche of Las Vegas and God Classic. Thanks again for all that you guys do. And we're going to close it out. See you later, Mikey. We're going to go out and hit First Friday. Get a corn dog. Yeah, see what's going on. All right.